Hello, welcome back to Sylvia Sasser. My channel is about giving mini master classes along with some tarot readings, and I pop in a video here and there about my journey with thrifting. So if you're new here to my channel, I just want to say welcome. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up if you like the content that you are viewing. So today I'm doing a mini master class about entities, darker entities, the energies, as well as understanding your psychic gifts. You have a psychic gift if you are empathic, highly intuitive, highly sensitive. And I mean, we all have psychic gifts, but I'm speaking to those that are consider themselves to be an introvert, and they are highly sensitive. Okay, so you might not feel like this is a psychic gift, but what I'm about to share with you is to help you get some clarity around this. So every day I journal and I connect with my guides and I channel things to help me on my spiritual path, because I had gone through an awakening back in 2017, and this was my journey to self-discovery. So if you don't know, I've written this book. It's She's Magic, The Enchanted Game of Life, and what I channeled were the reasons why things happen in our lives. It's like how to play the game more efficiently, the game of life. And one of the things that's really important is to start off knowing who your avatar is. And knowing who your avatar is also understanding your psychic gifts. So what I want to talk about today is this nice girl syndrome. Nice girl syndrome is the belief that you are always supposed to do the right thing. And because as a child, when you felt your emotions and you acted out according to your emotions, or you spoke out, like if you didn't trust somebody, or if you felt bad vibrations from somebody, if they were staring at you, and you would say something like, "Mom, that person is staring at me. Why are they staring at me?" Because they made you feel uncomfortable. As your parent would turn around and say, "Don't say that, be nice." And because of that, you learn how to shut down your psychic abilities. You learned how not to trust yourself. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this to your attention is because we are under a spiritual warfare, and the spiritual warfare is the lighter energies against the darker energies. This has nothing to do with contrast, right? We all need contrast in our lives in order to grow. Part of our evolution is to feel things that are uncomfortable so that we will move out of our comfort zone and we will evolve. But when I talk about darker entities feed off of your fear. Darker entities feed off of your apathy in life. And we signed up to be here so that we could experience all of our emotions and experience life from a place of gratitude that we even get to experience it. So if you are feeling this heaviness of apathy and wondering why you are even here, maybe it's just because you are carrying a darker entity along with you. Now, I think of like musicians and actors. A lot of musicians and actors, the reason why they get into the field of, not only their astrological chart will have a placement where that is their path, but if you find, like if you hear about like musicians or musicians or actors that get taken advantage of, like think of Britney Spears, or think of oh gosh, it'll pop back in. I have a musician on mind, or even let's just go with Justin Bieber. He's not who I have the vision for. I'm waiting for that name to pop in. But The thing is if you go in and you are an empath and you go into these industries where there are energy vampires, you're not prepared. But this happens to us in our daily lives. If you are highly sensitive, you probably are highly creative as well. You are highly creative, and that is because you live in your imagination and you feel your way through life. And so you are moved by art. And because you are moved by art, you have a way of absorbing emotions around you that make you feel a certain way. Now, as a highly sensitive child myself, not understanding that I had psychic gifts, I believed that it wasn't safe, right? So I learned how to feel the room even stronger. And I was known as Casper as a child because I was the observer. I didn't talk a lot, I just watched everything and I just consumed everything. I observed everyone. One of the things that you will notice is that if you are someone who is an introvert, highly sensitive, highly intuitive, is you attract narcissistic people into your life. You attract people that try to take advantage of you. You attract people that are very misleading. You find yourself in an arena of people that you have no business being with. And that is because your empathic self wants to see the good in everyone. And because you want to see the good in everyone, you do not protect your energy. Now, one of the things I want you to understand is you have an aura, and your aura reaches out further than just surrounding the outline of your body. And this aura is what is reading the energy waves, the magnetic energy waves, and feeling your way through life. So if you have an intensive way of feeling, it is because your aura is reading the room. That is why you know when you walk into a space if you shouldn't be there, if it's not good energy. But again, because of the way that we have been raised by our parents, sometimes we dampen that light. We say that it's not safe to speak and use our voice. Now, I'm thinking of human design. I'm not an expert in human design, but I am a projector. And projectors have open centers. I have a fully developed throat chakra and a fully developed ajna, but my centers are open. And I did not understand that because I had open centers, what my innate gift is that I can absorb other people's energies and I can see what is out of alignment. I can see I don't know why this throat chakra thing is happening right now, but let me just clear that. But I understand and can see what emotions people are going through, and I see through the bullshit. And I can give you clarity. But because of that, my energy can come off as being a little bit intense if I give you advice and you didn't ask for it. But that is one of my gifts. I was not aware of any of this until I started my spiritual journey. And my spiritual journey took me on the path of even learning about human design and understanding the whole thing about energetics and why we attract the people that we attract into our lives. So in my interior design business, when somebody invites you, this was a life that I had before. When I closed my doors, I went on my spiritual path. But when somebody invites you into their home, they invite you into their sacred space. And when they invite you into their sacred space, it is where this person feels safe to be themselves. And if you are psychic and you go into these people's homes, then you pick up on all of the facade. You cannot be fooled. And if you're unaware of that, then you could take on, you'll know that the vibe is off, but then, especially with my interior design business, I was working with people for quite a long time to complete their home. And I started taking on their energy into my open centers, because I am a projector, and I was unaware of it. So I would start to give my power away because I wanted to make sure they were happy, because that was my business, to make sure. But my job wasn't to make them happy. My job was to give them the completed project that I promised. And that's where the lines blur when you become a business owner and you are a psychic. Now, darker entities feed on fear. Okay, so I'm not talking about life. Life, we have contrast. We will go through obstacles, and those obstacles are to strengthen us so that we can evolve. Darker entities are these energies that will latch on and hold on to fear. Post Malone, that's the person I was talking about. It just came through. But anyway, so if you are highly empathic and you are highly sensitive, you are an open vessel for these energies to attach to you. And darker entities are those that they have no compassion, they have no integrity, they are just seeking power and greed and the destruction of humanity. Okay, these are darker entities. So when you are of light, and I'm sure you've heard the saying, attracting moths to the flame. When you are a light, these entities know that you're easy. You're an easy victim. So one of the things that happened to me is I went into this establishment to get something, and mind you, I've been doing the inner work, and that's why I'm sharing this information with you. I went into this establishment to go get something, and when I walked in, there was this young man, and I could tell he was homeless. And he didn't make eye contact with me, but then my guides were saying to approach him and ask him if he needed anything, if he would like something from this establishment. And so I did. Now, one of the things you need to know is that if you don't have healthy boundaries and you go on a journey of spiritual awakening and you start understanding your psychic gifts, there will be tests not to hinder you, but tests to show if you have mastered the skill of healthy boundaries. So I didn't know that I was under a test, right? So I went ahead and I asked, and he said yes, and he was very appreciative. And we had conversation, we locked eyes, and we exchanged energy. Through conversation, we exchanged energy. So I got him what he needed, and then I was sitting there, and all of a sudden I came over with this intense feeling of grief and sadness, to the point that I needed to remove myself from the establishment. Otherwise, I was going to break into the ugly cry. So I removed myself, and then I noticed that the next couple of days there was this smell of stench that was following me. Now, darker entities have a smell. It's a strong stench, and it was following me around for like 2 days. And because I've been doing this spiritual work, I understood what was happening. And so I made sure, like, I showered as soon as I got home from this establishment, and I made sure that I cleansed myself, but I still had that lingering feeling inside of me thinking of this person. And the reason why is because, he was around the age of my oldest daughter. And so the thought that came to me as a mother is that could have very well been one of my kids, if they found hardship. And because of that, the stench was around me. And then I realized what it was. It was this darker entity trying to attach to my aura. And the minute I knew that, I stood in my worth, my boundaries, and I said, get the fuck out of here. Like, you are not welcome here. And I stood in my strength and my power, and always know this, that you are more powerful than these darker entities. So it left. I cleansed my space. I used sage, I incense, I I cleansed my aura. I took another shower. It's like these are things that you have to do when these entities try to attach. Now, if you are a empathic person and you are highly sensitive and you are not aware of these entities, they can come in and attach to you. And how you know they've attached to you is all of a sudden you feel this sense of heaviness, of apathy for life. You feel like you can't get ahead. You feel like every time you try to get ahead, you sabotage yourself. You procrastinate. You get brain fog. You're just in apathy for life. And that is a sign that these entities, these darker entities, and then you might be having anxiety and fear coming up for things that for no apparent reason. Because when you have open centers and you are psychic, if you're not aware, you'll take on these energies as your own. So you might be in a good mood and then all of a sudden you're in a bad mood when you go into a room or into a space where there's a lot of people. And because of that, you will, your energy will change, your whole vibe will change, and you won't understand. So knowing this and knowing how to cleanse your energy better prepares you for this. Now, what I want to talk about is the good girl syndrome, and the good are the nice girl syndrome. So when you think of the word nice, in the definition of nice is to be agreeable and to be satisfactory. So how many women are walking around who have lost their power, who have lost their voice, who feel invisible because they want to be agreeable, they want to be satisfactory, meaning they become doormats. They say yes to everything, even though they mean no, and they think about satisfying other people's needs before their own. And that is a sign that you do not have healthy boundaries. And because of that, you believe that it's not nice to show when you feel unsafe. And so that's why we have so many children that get themselves, or even young adults that get themselves into situations where they're talking to people where they feel the vibration that they're not safe, and they still talk to these people because they don't want to be the mean girl. They don't want to come off as being, insensitive. But in reality, they're putting themselves in harm's way. That's how women get lured into places, because they know that they should say no. They know that it's not safe, but then they're like, oh, I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be mean, so I'm going to listen. Or you get into a relationship and you're like, there's a lot of red flags here, but you're like, oh, but I can fix him. He's such a nice guy. It's just that he came from this and blah, blah, blah. You tell yourself these stories, and next thing you know, you're in a relationship that they are sucking the life out of you. And that's what I call energy vampires. And these energy vampires feed off of your light. So it's very important as women that we raise our daughters to have self-worth and not fall into the pattern of the nice girl syndrome. Now, one thing I want to talk about is family lineage and generational curses. So if you were raised in a family where your mother was someone that had no healthy boundaries, and she was very intuitive, and she did have psychic abilities but didn't understand them, and was always attracting relationships that she was trying to save that person, or abusive relationships, or always, being taken advantage of or misled, then it's highly likable that your mother was a psychic who was highly intuitive and didn't know her gifts and fell prey to the nice girl syndrome, because this is repeated from history. If you think of back in the time where they used to burn witches, Witches were women who trust their intuition, who weren't easily indoctrinated, who weren't going to conform, who didn't want to get married. And because of this, they were like unruly women, and so they must be witches, and so they burnt them. So women learned how to be the nice girl. They learned how to conform in order to fit in with society. And then you have those rebellious wild women, and then they get a name, right? Even by other women. Women will judge those women because they are not godly women, because they have their voice. It is a systematic disease that has progressed over time. But knowing that when you stand in your self-worth, that is why we have this huge movement about self-love. First, it started with manifestation. Why? Because everybody is looking for either to manifest material things, whether it be money, a home, a car, a vacation, or they want to manifest love into their lives, right? And so that's how human nature is. You're going to follow, this manifestation of bringing more into your life. So that's where that was an easy way to get you in to do the self-discovery work. And that's why even in my book, I bring you through the process of going through the self-discovery so that you can start to erase all of these limiting beliefs and the programming around this. So what happens is, because of these beliefs that you have, it's just been happening from generation to generation. And because your mother wasn't aware and her mother wasn't aware, and it started from this burning of the witches, right? You learned not to stand in your truth. And the nice girl syndrome is the doormat syndrome. And so if you find that you keep attracting narcissists into your life, or you are being misled, or you are being taken advantage of, it is because you're not stepping into your power. And your power is that you are psychic. And so when somebody shows them to you and you feel their energy and you don't trust it, believe it, because otherwise you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're going to be playing the mechanic. We don't need any more mechanics. We don't need to fix anybody. Only thing we need to do is work on ourselves. So when the manifestation happened, where people are like, okay, yeah, I'm going to believe in manifestation, where it's guiding you to is self-worth, because manifestation does not work if you do not believe you have value. So then we have the movement of self-love. Know that all of this has been divinely guided during this time, because we are trying to break this belief, or break this energy of fear and thinking that we are disempowered. Because when you step into your power, you step into your truth. And your truth is that you are a magnetic being and you attract everything to you. And so when you know your self-worth, you are no longer the nice girl. Yes, you have manners, and yes, you are appropriate, but appropriate to you. You are not saying yes to people or things that you don't align with. You use your voice. You have your convictions. You trust in your own authority, and that is getting back to not giving your power away. So, with these dark entities, when I was looking at this, revealing itself, okay, with this experience with this homeless person, one of the things that I enjoy doing is thrifting. And so I was in a thrift store and I was minding my own business. Like, I was on the other side of the room, and this homeless person darted over, and I could hear, she had on these high heel boots, and I could hear the click, 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 click. And all of a sudden she said, "Excuse me." And I looked up, and you could tell that she was on drugs and she was homeless. And she asked me she said she had these boots on, and she asked me if I could buy these sneakers for her, because she didn't want to wear these shoes anymore and she had no money. And so first thing, I looked at her and I said, well, I just got here. And the reason why that even came out of my mind was because, like, how did you find me? Like, that is how strong your light is. And so, she said, I really need these, blah, blah, blah. And so I said, okay, fine, I'll get you the shoes. And then she was like, oh, bless you, bless you, bless you, and it's like, no, I don't need your blessing. But inside of me, I knew that it was another test revealing itself. And so I bought her the shoes, she left, and right away I started telling the entity, don't fuck with me, you're not attaching to me, I'm not the one today. And I didn't have to deal with it. I didn't have that, like, I got in the car and the smell was lingering because it's like a smell of death, right? And so when she opened her mouth, it was like she was breathing it on me. But I had my self-worth. And so it's like, yes, you as somebody who has compassion, you can do nice things for people. You can do nice things for, even the homeless, but you cannot exchange energy with them, because the minute you exchange energy with them, that entity will attach to you. So it tried. I got in my car, I could smell the stench, and I just said, not today. Like, get the fuck out of my car, not today. And I didn't deal with it anymore. And, it's just, I started laughing about it at that point. There was no sadness or empathy. It was just like, yeah, this was another test. And yes, you can do nice things for people who are down and out, but do not exchange energy with them. And when you know that you are being dishonest with yourself and untrue to yourself, and your vibration is changing, your vibration changes where, like, if you have any shame or guilt around what you have, or it is not, you should not have shame and guilt, because you made different choices. And you do not have the power to reflect on anybody else, right? It's like you are not responsible for anybody else's circumstances. They brought that on to themselves. You are not here, again, to be the fix-it person. You're not here to be the mechanic. You are here to stand in your truth and in your power. So I'm going to just go over some things that you can do, and first some warning signs, and then what you can do to not be a victim anymore. Okay, so let's just talk about some of the signs to look out for if an entity has attached to you when it comes to, like, a homeless person. One of the things is to be aware of your emotions, because you are making eye contact with them and you are exchanging energy with them. And so if you have this, like I said, this, like, all of a sudden this rush of emotion coming in, know that this entity is trying to attach to your compassion for others. And then it is that stench that will follow afterwards. And you will know that the stench is following because it's like you're the next victim. And then you will be aware if that happens, because you start procrastinating, sabotaging, having these beliefs, these lower vibrational beliefs that you didn't even have before. So one of the things is you're going to want to learn how to protect yourself. And protection, whether it is cleansing your aura, showering, saying a mantra where you're washing the negative energies down the drain, taking sage, clearing your space, telling the entity to get the fuck out of your space, because you always hold the power. Remember that. Tell them to move. Open your door. You can sage, open your door and sweep them out and tell them they're not welcome. And then cleanse your aura. You can also wear a protection stone, like black tourmaline or black obsidian, to help protect you through that if you feel like you are at your most vulnerable state and you want to protect yourself. But then after that, you want to go further and you want to journal about where you are. Are you the nice girl? Do you feel like you're a doormat? Write down all of the things that keep happening on repeat. Do you keep attracting narcissists? Do you have where people just like pop up and show up and invade on your time? Do you have where you make a promise to yourself and you give up on that promise and you put other people's needs first? Are you falling into being the doormat? Do you feel guilt and shame when you say no to things that that you're not interested in being a part of, or going somewhere, or an invitation, you reject an invitation? Do you feel like there's some guilt and shame around it? And then you go back on your word and you make a commitment that you wish you didn't make. Are you putting yourself in harm's way to make other people feel comfortable? So, look at the people that you surround yourself. Are they the ones that are lifting you up, or are they like the crabs in a bucket that keep pulling you down every time you're trying to ascend? Those are all signs that these darker entities are trying to attach to you. Are you resorting to numbing? Every time an uncomfortable emotion comes along, are you numbing? Whether it is watching TV or drinking or smoking or, shopping or sex. Like, what are you doing to numb yourself because you don't want to feel these uncomfortable emotions? The only way that you can make change happen is through self-awareness. And if you are wanting to be a sovereign being, that is being in complete control of you, of your energy, of your entity. And if you are giving it away, then you have to collect yourself, right? You have to collect yourself. I talk about timelines and I talk about collecting your energy. And even when you have, regret, or you have anger, or you have, what's the word I'm looking for? Any kind of emotions where it puts you in that timeline of attached to that other person's emotion, right? Because you believe that they're the ones that have caused this pain in your life. You're disempowering yourself. So any kind of resentment, you have to learn to let go of the resentment, the anger, and step into your empowerment. Because just because you forgive doesn't mean that you are allowing your energy. What you're doing is you're forgiving yourself for allowing that moment of opening up and allowing someone to come in and take advantage of your vessel. So know this, that through empowering yourself and saying no, and stop being the nice girl, stop being the doormat, protect your energy, you will see that through the investments of yourself, that is when you collapse the timelines. That's when you manifest with ease. That's when you're not chasing anymore. It's when you begin to attract. That is because you are in your self-worth. And when you are in your self-worth, you are the most magnetic being. But with magnetism is light, and with light there are moths, and with moths there are dark entities. So this is not to fear you about manifesting and being in your light and working on your self-worth, but know that you are stepping into your warrior energy, knowing that there are things that are happening in the unseen that you are not aware of, but because you are of light, you can hold up against that. You can fight against it. And that is standing in your truth and being authentic. Do not get it twisted. Authentic doesn't mean that you wear your heart on your sleeve and you spill out on everybody and you just tell them everything that you've gone through and you don't hide anything, because that's where people get it twisted and think that that's what being authentic is. Authentic means that you stand true in your convictions. Authentic means you know your self-worth. Authentic means that you know your values, your strengths, what you believe in, and you go after that and you set those boundaries, and nothing can infiltrate into that reality that you're creating. That is all I have for you today. If you enjoyed this mini masterclass, please leave me a like, leave some comments if you resonate, if you've experienced any of this, and hit that subscribe button and hit the bell notification for more of these videos. And that is all I have for you today.